So I know I'm between everyone and lunch, so I hope I make this interesting enough to keep your appetites on for some more time. Um, yeah, so I think clearly, I think even the way you interact with, let's say, WhatsApp, where it starts auto-filling your chats, is how I think AI is really powering our everyday moments. It's here, and it's only going to grow in the days to come. And it's obviously, if you look at what's happened, for example, if you look at conversations on AI on Instagram, it's up by 175% over last year. There are many, many large language models that are coming in. There are text-to-image AI tools, which I will actually talk about, and there are AI-powered video and music creation tools, which are already here or coming alive. So what's artificial intelligence? It's a tool that draws on large amounts of information and data to solve a large problem or answer one of many complex questions. And I think it's not new, right? In some sense, if you look back, I mean, it's been there since the 1950s. I think this is not the first time we've spoken. I mean, while it's having quite a moment in the 2020s, it's really been there at the in terms of technology, it's been there forever. And if you look at how we are using it, I think it's been the backbone of Facebook and Instagram. Ever since 2006, when we started using AI in newsfeed, I think it's evolved to a situation which is why I think for everyone in this room, each of us have our unique feeds. And the reason is very simple, it's AI at the back, right? I mean, which actually looks at your interests, attitudes, and obviously serves you content that you're likely to engage with. And we see this not just in, let's say, apps like Facebook and Instagram, you see this in Netflix. For example, shows that you may like, and stuff like this has always, has been there even before, I would say, large language models, et cetera, started coming in. We've really started, I think, I would benefiting if I can look at the Meta ecosystem, given that the whole industry is moving up now. So your access to tools, your access to technologies, your access to partners, like many of whom spoke here today, or equally even global partners, and equally like many other companies, be it Amazon, be it Google, be it Microsoft, each of them obviously deepening their forays only helps the entire, world in some sense. So I think, for example, if you look at even, I'll just talk through Llama, for example, which is our large language model, and how quickly it's evolved, literally in a span of months. So as I mentioned, this is really newsfeed.
Nowadays,
can you increase the volume of it?
Like, how should I be thinking about AI? What does it mean for humans and the world of our intelligence? Or even what impact will AI have on people and the economy and society at large? We at Meta have been deeply involved with answering these questions and others over the past 10 years with our fundamental AI research team. We search research topics and projects as large language models, systems that can produce images, videos, and music from text descriptions, systems that can understand everything there is to understand about an image, and systems that can understand speech and text in any language and can translate hundreds of languages in any direction. Whether as a tool to help people navigate through cities, or to help scientists make rapid advancements in their research, or to help doctors diagnose diseases, AI has been used by people to innovate and solve new problems. And with the most recent breakthroughs, AI seems to be fluent in countless topics that have the power to inspire, inform, and even entertain. But the majority of human knowledge and expression is actually non-linguistic. And computers or AI models can do amazing things based on language, but computers are still very far from understanding the real world the way humans do. We at Meta are working on getting machines to learn and reason like people. I believe that AI will amplify human intelligence and human creativity. AI will democratize creativity by enabling more people to unlock their imagination when producing text, images, videos, music, and much more. Ultimately, AI will bring on a new renaissance by helping people learn, understand, create, and will provide new ways to connect with each other.
So I think while you heard a lot on, I think there is still a long way to go on AI really understanding expressions, feelings, and how we interact with each other, because obviously it relies a lot of language and text today, but I'm sure it'll evolve, how quickly the space is evolving. Other thing, for example, like, what we want to do is also to make sure that AI is responsible. For example, we tested, let's say Crocs, which is a popular brand of shoes, but, like, it can be used as a meme sometimes to say, your skin is looking aged, etc. So, AI still doesn't understand a lot of nuances. So I think the question is again how you give it more context, and obviously how you use these models will evolve. And it's still in early days in terms of what it can say and what it can do. Very, very, I would say, responsibly. And that's something, again, I think, which is at the backbone of what we do. So if you look at, literally the generative AI team at Meta was formed only a year ago. For example, it's already able to generate stuff like this. Unfortunately, I don't have the images here, in my translation from one format to the other. But for example, you can actually type this and the image can be generated in literally seconds as you type and evolves. Similarly, let's say if you type this again as a phrase, a fox dressed in a suit dancing in a park, it can actually generate this in 30 seconds today. So that's really how the Llama model is evolving. And if you look at it, I'm saying, in terms of the timeline, literally between February 23, when Llama was conceptualized or launched, to now we're already in Llama 3, within, I would say, 14 months, already you're in your third generation. And if you look at the scale, I'm saying at which, obviously, I'd say, the chips have obviously undergone transformation to really take on, I would say volumes of data. And I think what Meta wants to do is to literally take on the entire world where it can be of end use to each of us in this room. Right? And it's not like, for example, AI can be used by individual businesses, like you heard many of the panelists say, right? Whether it's HP, whether it's Domino's, they rely on their own data, right? Which is going to be really, which is very nuanced around, let's say, sales of a particular category or production around a particular category. But I think what Meta wants to do is to really make it useful for all of mankind. At least that's really what we want to do, so that it can play a role for each of us in our everyday lives. In fact, like right from you having your own virtual assistant, to plan your meetings, to plan your travel, to plan your holiday, or even decipher menus at a restaurant, or let's say translate into some other language, etc. So these are use cases that we are really pushing. So obviously, as I mentioned, in a year, this is really, or even within 6 months, the data is almost 7x more. And I think obviously the challenge is going to be how much more do you really want machines to learn, which becomes as close to human life as possible. And obviously there have been multiple iterations, and clearly, we are seeing in terms of what next steps are, or clearly, how do you make this multilingual? How can you, for example, not rely only on English, but really make this, let's say, in the 12 to 14 languages that we have in India? There is already translation, etc. happening, but it's not about translation. It's about getting the raw data in Telugu and actually immediately realizing that this is what I do to process this, right? And obviously, try to figure out how you can integrate this into other things like the Ray-Ban smart glasses that we've tied up with, etc. So if you look at where, if I step outside Llama and go back to where AI is already live otherwise, so Meta has been investing in AI, for example, in, like I mentioned on the feed side, where we want stronger discovery. What it means today is, if I look back at Instagram a couple of years ago, your feed was who you followed. So if I follow, for example, Virat Kohli, and I follow, let's assume, a host of Bollywood personalities or travel and food, I really get that in my feed. But today, more than 20% of my feed, or anybody's feed in this room, is not people you follow. It is AI recommended. So for example, if I follow Virat Kohli, but I don't follow Rohit Sharma, but he's put out an entertaining post, it will come in the section that we think you may like this, and you actually have all those feeds. And what we've seen is that's increased time spent. So whether we like it or not, the machines are able to process what we like, and that's actually increasing, already showing us results in terms of increasing time spent on our apps. Secondly, I think AI has been used a lot in the last couple of years, especially to remove hate speech. And obviously, anything which I guess is negative in the form of terror and sexual abuse and child abuse and stuff like that. AI has been actually at the backbone removing this content. The third one is, now again, because Instagram and Facebook today, globally, I would say 90% of new brands or new options from businesses get discovered on these platforms. So actually stronger discovery. So what it means is, for example, if I like or I find new clothes or new shoes on Instagram, and I've shown that behavior in the past, maybe I discover the next brand. This has led to actually an improved automated experience for marketers and advertisers. Because today what we've also done is, in the ads tools, a lot of the backend is now, if you had 25 variables to fill on saying who you want to target, how much is your budget, when do you want to spend it, and which is the creative you want to spend it, etc. A lot of decisions were taken by many of us in these rooms. We are minimizing that through AI tools to really 5 decisions. What's your budget? what's, let's say, a set of creatives, and actually AI is, on basis, like literally if you leave everything to the machine, it can choose which creative to show you versus me. It can choose when to spend that budget. Should it be on a Friday night when, more people are likely to surf, or rather than cap it every day on a weekday, etc. So a lot of the variables are actually getting done by AI, and that's actually resulting in higher ROI. The other one I think we've already seen, which is chats, so chatbots and messaging is already live, and many companies already leveraging this to engage with their customers. So I think, like in sum, I don't think AI will replace marketers or marketing, but it can help us all do marketing much better. So in some sense, if you should look at, I think, like we get a lot of data, right? Data around us in terms of how our customers, consumers are behaving. And obviously, you use that to really build your campaigns, etc. So in some sense, if you look at what's already happening today, about 9% of, or this was actually already dated about a couple of years ago, 9% of marketers globally were using AI or machine learning. Possibly that's already sitting at 23% now, and is only, surely is going to rise to at least half the world sooner than later. And obviously, how are they using it? It's to automate customer interactions, personalize customer journey across channels, so a lot of the chats, etc., if you look at it, or even drive best offers in real time. So, you have external studies done by Salesforce in this case, and Deloitte, which have actually captured these. So if you look at where, as I said, our focus on the ad side is to really help marketers is obviously infrastructure, we're investing a lot. Modeling, which uses a lot more of that data and to create the experiences that I just spoke about, So basically, obviously it's a virtuous loop. The more data you throw in, the more the machine learns, and the more effective it becomes over time. So I think what we've also seen with early adopters in India is that people like, right now, for example, Dream11 has used our AI product, which is an app installer. It's called Automated App Install for the current IPL, and they've actually seen about 11% cost reduction in terms of cost per install. So here again, they're allowing the engine to, for example, as I said, figure out, should I be served the creative with, one of their athletes versus the other athlete, basis who I follow. Because otherwise what happens is you as a marketer are deciding, you're possibly pushing only a, Rohit Sharma creative to me, and there might be, again, people who follow or like others, other stars. So how does the engine obviously realizes who you follow, etc. And, this is one example on how the creative could work better. So ad delivery systems, I'm saying, is the one place. So like, as I said, so these tools have clearly, overall, if you look at it globally, they've increased ROI by 30% plus, improved cost per action, like I explained just now on the Dream11 case, by 9% globally, and about 14% more purchases were made when the AI decided the creative versus human beings deciding which creative to serve to whom. So I think what's live right now is really these four. So like we are trying to push, more experiences on Ads Manager for all advertisers on chat, build, create, and engage. So for example, today you can already interact with AIs. This Meta.ai is actually live in US and a few other countries. It should get live hopefully soon in India as well. So you can actually log in into your browser and start asking any question, right from generating an image, converting, let's say image to text or text to image, etc. So you have a lot which is on the anvil. Second one, chat, as I mentioned, a lot of folks already using. Stickers and other generations are already available. Today you can actually restyle, as an advertiser on Instagram. So you can actually restyle and say that, for example, a Picasso background, your photograph actually changes today. Or change the image in the backdrop here to, let's say, the streets of Paris, etc. That is already possible. So you can create with AI. You can, chat, as I mentioned, we spoke about, and I think this is something all of us are familiar with. The other one, which is also live on Ads Manager as we speak, is how you can expand an image. And this is going to be of huge use to a lot of small businesses. So imagine I don't have to do various sizes and shoots in terms of 9 by 15 and 16 and 16 by 9. Whichever static I have, you can actually change size immediately. It can change the background. So for example, if I just shoot a coffee, let's say a cup of coffee in the office, and I want it in the backdrop of, let's say, the Coor Coffee Estates, AI can do that for you. So think of what it can do for a lot of small businesses immediately. And the last one is text. So again, simple copy. plethora of use cases again for businesses in terms of captions, in terms of what it's about. So whether it's text, text generation, image enhancement, and image generation, all of these are live. And the other one is, of course, as I said, personal assistance is something, again, people are already starting to use. So you can see, for example, where is the best place to eat, etc. You can actually start chatting with Meta AI. It's getting rolled out, to various users, I guess, in the background. So you can actually start doing that. This is there available on Instagram chat as we speak. So in sum, I think, if you look back at what the large language models are doing, as well as what the host of features that are coming through in the advertising landscape, at least from Meta, I think it gives us both fuel and freedom. Fuel really is, what I guess goes into the AI engine, in terms of the plethora of data that each of us collect in our businesses. So how do you really make sure that you start using that to feed the machine, so that it obviously comes up with better responses for each of you, either on the advertising side or how you run your business, using large language models like Llama, for example, tomorrow. So you obviously have your data, your creative, your media, your measurement, all these are fuel. And I think we are definitely going to get a lot of freedom, in terms of, I would say, removing biases. Like I said, for example, one of the benefits we saw on, really the budget being determined by the machine was that it removed biases that we want to spend only $1,000, let's say, dollars a day, for example, as a budget cap, because the machine knows better on how many people are logging in when, which we don't have access to. So it is looking for patterns to figure out, for example, during the game day, should the spends be between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m., etc. So it has access to, many more markers than we do. So data, clearly, I'm saying it removes assumptions, or it removes assumptions that, rich people only live in the metros, etc. So I'm saying for brands that may want to target, it doesn't distinguish really between where you live and what you do. Secondly, on the creative, again, as I said, I think there it's a challenge that how many creatives can you create and how do you serve it to the right person. So I think, again, the machine does a better job on figuring out, is this person turned on by a price off, is this person turned on by a free gift, or is the person really about the benefit, for example, if it's a hair category in terms of shiny, lustrous hair, etc. So how do you really the machine can do a better job. The third one is media in terms of optimizing investment on which surface, which channel, etc., even within our host of platforms. And the last one is measurement. Obviously, you can start measuring each of this that you do. So I think clearly, if you look at, let's say, the various roles that we have in marketing today, so whether you're an executive in marketing, whether you're a creative strategist, whether you're a performance marketer or a brand strategist, I'm saying we are going to have a lot more time when the machine starts doing the base work for you. Which we believe we should be spent really on working more on your brand proposition, working more on your strategy, so that you are able to then obviously take your marketing to the next level. So it's really, that's really what I think AI, we believe, will do. It's really going to redefine and evolve our jobs. And the question is how we evolve, along with the possibilities that AI can do for each of us. Thank you.